Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for telling my wife my job has to come before hers? My wife and our 2 kids, 3 and 5, live in a VHCOL city. I made about 5x as much as my wife, so we do pretty well. If my income were the same as my wife's, we would not be able to afford to live in our city. My job is pretty low stress. About 35-ish hours a week, with the only requirement that I be on call for 1 week out each month. Normally nothing ever happens, so I do my usual routine with the understanding with my wife that if I'm needed I will drop whatever we are doing and work until the work issue is resolved. This only ever happens once every quarter and only lasts a few hours. My wife on the other hand has a much more stressful job. Her boss is incredibly demanding and often demands random and inane things just as a power play with her subordinates. She usually works about 45-50 hours a week. As a result, I take care of most home stuff, drop off, pick up kids from daycare, cook meals, and generally keep the house clean. The Am I the Antagonist incident. It was an on-call week after work hours when my wife got a text from her boss about fulfilling an emergency request for a client. My wife complained to me that this request really could wait until tomorrow, but she would rather get it done so she doesn't have to listen to her boss bitch at her in the morning if it's not done. I had no problem with it, but I reminded her that I'm on call, so I might need to switch with her if something came up. She made a grunt of acknowledgement but nothing beyond that. About 2 hours later I get an all hands call to immediately come into the office. Normally I can resolve issues remotely, but we had an issue that prevented us from remoting in. I rush upstairs and told me wife I had to leave, only for her to turn around and say, "Sorry, but my issue came up first. You are going to have to tell your work you can't." I was taken aback and told her that no, this issue isn't something I can skip for anything short of I'm physically in the hospital and can't come in. She got increasingly angry and started ranting at me, but I told her that I didn't have time for this and that I'm leaving. When I get back we can discuss this. She started crying, but I had no more time, so I left for the office. On the way she called me to continue the argument, and in the heat of the moment, I said, "Look, I respect that you put a lot of time and energy into your work, but we cannot afford our house or lifestyle without my job. So when push comes to shove, my job has to come first, otherwise we are going to be on the streets." She hung up on me after that. When I got home about 3 hours later, the kids were crashed out on the living room couch with several bowls of cereal spilled around them. I went upstairs and my wife was locked in the bedroom and refused to talk. In the morning I found out from the kids that she spent the night crying in her room and didn't feed them dinner or tuck them in, so they made cereal and had a sleepover in the living room. NTA, and her failure to feed your kids should be a warning sign. She was aware that you were available and that her assignment didn't require immediate completion. If her job is really horrible, she should switch jobs rather than blame her family. Comment by team member Corey. Now for the top comments. NTA, your wife, however, needs to talk to a therapist. Her reaction is not normal, nor is it healthy. She should also look for a new job, as her current job is clearly interfering with not just her life, but her emotional state. She knew you were on call. This was a known, prearranged agreement. Her suddenly going back on it and also neglecting your children is not healthy. What if one of the kids choked on the cereal? What if one of them slammed their head into something which gave them a concussion? Not caring for the children is a serious issue and signs of a much larger problem. Thank you for this comment. Reading this was really sad. There's a lot of anger here, and, while justified, will only make things worse. Something is seriously wrong and your wife really needs your help. I'm sorry you have to go through this. NTA, as you correctly stated, the family depends on your job. However, 2 points that you both should consider. There is no need for her to have such a demanding and stressful job considering the family situation. She should find something else she finds fulfilling without all the stress. Your family's life is hugely depending on your job. Therefore, you should prepare with savings/insurance in case something happens to it or you. To your first point, I completely agree. I have tried unsuccessfully to encourage her to look for a new job or even just take a break from work for a few months to de-stress. To the second, we do have generous savings. I'm extremely frugal since I grew up very poor compared to our lifestyle now, but I would not be comfortable living off savings unless it was absolutely necessary, say a big economic downturn where it becomes difficult to find a job. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to pony up? Okay, my younger brother is getting married on the weekend. They requested cash only, no gifts. My sister asked me how much I'm planning on giving. $500 1000. I'm like, hold on. I'm gay. I was in a relationship for 16 years and never got a single penny from anyone when I bought my house with my ex. No housewarming gift. Zilch zero. We never even mentioned his name when I visited my parents' house. My siblings have gotten down payments for homes. Miscellaneous gifts. I was charged gas money when I was picked up at the airport. I live across the country. I'm well off. Every penny I have, I earned it. I invested. He never did. On the flip side, my dad gave him $40K when he defaulted on credit card debt. My sister asked me again, how much $? I told her why am I expected to fund his life choices, but you guys never acknowledged mine? I'm almost to the point of not flying 5 hours to be put through this. Am I the antagonist? NTA. And since it appears that everyone in your family is homophobic, perhaps you shouldn't bother going. However, if your siblings are cool and your parents' generation is more homophobic, I wouldn't hold your parents discriminatory favoritism against them. Comment by team member Cody. Now for the top comments. Just me, but from what you describe, you have two options: go and be hounded for money. It doesn't seem that they are interested in anything other than that from you. Or stay home, or take yourself for a little vacation if you've already booked the time off, and live your best life. Personally, I'd buy my favorite cupcake in honor of myself instead of the greedy couple, and celebrate my life choice of sanity by skipping the entire boondoggle. Edit. OBV, not the a-hole. Here. NTA. I don't know why your sister is even asking you that question. If you're going to gift money to someone, that's between you and the recipient. No one else has any business inquiring. So not the a-hole for not telling her. And also not the a-hole if you give no money at all and don't attend the wedding. Why should you? And it's not that I'm cheap. If I stay over, I always take everyone for dinner. Invited out for dinner. Buy wine. It's a culmination of having to go to church for X week growing up. It's the guilt factor. Suggest going out for dinner somewhere, but don't invite them. Then stand up before the end and thank them for finally paying for dinner for you. Then bolt. Lol. NTA. A gift is not a gift if it is expected. People like that are tacky AF. Can't afford the ceremony and all on your own dime. Don't get bloody married. I swear people today got no damn finance sense. Right. A wedding gift is a gift, not your admission fee to said wedding. Am I the antagonist for calling off my son's camping trip after he ruined a painting that I drew for my wife? Obligatory. On mobile and English is hard, so be patient. I male 39 married my wife F36 4 months ago. I have a son named Elijah, age 16. He and my wife have this tension between that started right after she moved in with us. He complains about how she enters his room all the time and invading his privacy and touching his stuff. But my wife says she's just cleaning it for him. He also complains from being forced to eat what she cooks, but my wife says she's just trying to get him to step away from unhealthy fast food and snacks and get used to healthy homemade meals. The fighting became constant even before the wedding. Then at the wedding he complained about being excluded from pictures and food he wanted to have, but my wife said she had nothing to do with it and that Elijah was looking for something to hold over her head. Now since we're in summer break and he has plenty of free time, I'd signed him up for a 2-week camping trip and paid for everything. He was supposed to go next week, but a couple of days ago something happened. It was my wife's birthday. As a gift I drew a painting for her and gave it to her during dinner. Elijah started laughing for no reason, which made my wife annoyed. She told him he wasn't allowed to watch a movie later that night and sent him to his room. He wasn't happy, he threw a temper tantrum and said he didn't do anything to deserve a punishment. Then in the morning my wife woke me up yelling saying the painting I gave her was destroyed with car oil. She kept saying Elijah did it. I had him come out of his room and he admitted that he ruined it to get back at her for punishing him the night before. I lost my temper with him, then punished him by cancelling his trip and taking the money back. He threw another tantrum saying he had to do I after she punished him for no reason and that it wasn't fair since I promised, but I said it was final. He started crying and called his aunt as a way to pressure me into backing out of my decision, but I refused. Your wife is competing with your kid, who is still a young child. Yes, he ought to pay for what he did, but it's obvious that you've been ignoring this issue while it's become worse. Because it appears that you are defending her actions while applying different rules to your son. Comment by team member Cody. Now for the top comments. If he doesn't want your wife going into his room and touching his things, why do you let her? Why didn't you make sure that your son was included in some pictures? Why didn't you intervene when he wasn't allowed to eat some of the food at the wedding? Why are you letting her parent your son when you know there's so much tension between them? Of course he shouldn't have ruined the painting. Of course he's an R, but he's also a kid. You and your wife are, supposedly, the adults. It's unreasonable to expect a 16-year-old to de-escalate a situation that the two adults keep escalating. Everyone sucks here, but you in particular. I'm the BO mom and I never went in my son's room without his knowledge or consent by that age. Laundry day. Just asked him to put the sheets in the laundry so I could wash them. If his clothes didn't make it to the laundry basket in time for washing, I taught him how to do his own. Stepmom needs to stay out of this young man's room. Dad is Reddit for spelling. AITA, why do you marry someone that clashes with your son? I never understand these situations. Your son and you are a package deal, and you should put your son first. He's 16. She has no right coming into his room for cleaning. He's old enough to take care of his own room with enough coaxing. The healthy eating should have been instilled on him long ago, and sending a 16-year-old to his room. Come on. He should not have destroyed the painting. But still, you are tar. I've always been perplexed by people who marry people that don't get along with their children. I've never been in that situation, so I guess I shouldn't judge, but I just literally can't picture it. Why is your very new wife invading your son's space and giving him the punishment of a 6-year-old? No movie for a 16-year-old. She is crossing boundaries and clearly doesn't know what she is doing. There's definitely some power tripping going on there. You, however, should know better. You're the a-hole. Am I the antagonist for not wanting my stepdaughter to wear an Apple Tag 24/7? I, 26F, am dating Aaron, 32 male, and have a bonus daughter Izzy, 4F. Her mom Danny, 30F, is a jerk to say the least, but it is what it is, and we have to cooperate with her. I respect her for the sake of Izzy and always refuse to engage when things get hostile. I have had to go NC with Danny on multiple occasions because of harassment. To make a long story short, and now all contact is filtered through Aaron if necessary. I'm very involved in Izzy's life. I'm in contact with her school teachers, and we have a great stepmom-stepdaughter relationship. Izzy is starting kindergarten this year and her mom wants to start having her wear an Apple Tag. I was completely on board with this. I actually agree with it up until a certain age. I don't have any BO children yet, waiting until we get married, but I make my puppy wear one lol. The issue is, she wants her to wear one even during our weeks at all times. I think this is absurd. We have her on a week-on week-off basis, and I do not feel comfortable with Danny having our every location. I told her I would be willing to have Izzy wear one of my extra Apple Tags during our week when she's not with us at school, but she said no. Am I overstepping here? Aaron said he's not comfortable with her wearing it either because he doesn't want his ex popping up on Muse while we're out with Izzy. But Danny is saying it's within her rights as a mom to know where Izzy is at all times because of kidnappings. So are we being ours for not letting Izzy wear her Apple Tag all the time? Edit, we have been together 3 years. Izzy will be 5 in September. When did labeling kids as animals become acceptable? That just feels so terribly wrong in so many ways. This is about control and being nosy, not about the biological mother's safety. Danny can tag her child whenever she wants, if she wants to tag her like a seal. Comment by team member Parker. Now for the top comments. NTA. You'll be able to find her as well with your Apple tag as you would with Danny's. She's not worried about kidnapping, she wants to track you. That was my exact thought. Thank you. Info. Get the divorce/child attorney involved. 24/7 tracking is pretty crazy. What happens if the Apple tag is left in her room when she is in Aaron's custody? Fear of kidnapping? The mother is letting her fears control her. In my admittedly biased opinion, it's not about kidnapping. She's had control issues in the past and harasses me, which is why he took her to court to get everything in writing. This is beyond Reddit. Your BF needs to discuss this with an attorney. He has. We know legally we don't have to, just was wondering if we were morally doing the right thing. Morally, you don't have to do it. His time with her is his time. And she doesn't have a right to force that time to be monitored. That's what she's doing. And it's not appropriate. Am I the antagonist for telling someone that being brown isn't a personality trait? Hi, so I, 26F, am Indian. And I'm part of a large friend group, most of whom I'm close with, but there are a couple of people I don't know too well. Now, one of these people, 25 male, who I will call Jake, is a little bit obsessed with Indian culture. I use Indian culture as a whole because he really kind of generalizes and mismatched various subcultures together. He'll mix together traditions from different cultures, and although I try to help him understand, he never seems too interested in what I'm telling him, so I don't really try anymore. Personally, this isn't really my problem, as learning in depth about a specific culture maybe isn't what he's looking to do, so WTV. I'm not sure if I can say he's fetishizing the culture, but he has a preference for Indian women. He's only dated Indian women in the past and will constantly harp about how beautiful their skin color is. He's come up to me multiple times and mentioned how he loves the color of my skin, and it's like having a natural tan, and he's jealous. He also constantly mentioned to me and a couple of my other friends that we should wear Indian clothes more often as they are very attractive on women like us. This kinda weirded me out, but I don't talk much with him, so I just kind of ignored it. Now the problem arose when we had a pool party a couple days ago. One of my friends had just had a new pool installed, and she invited us over to check it out. So I came over. I wore kinda like a maxi dress, and then I had a bikini on underneath. At first everything was fine, but when I took the maxi off, there was immediately a problem. I was immediately just blocked by Jake, who started telling me how a woman of my culture should be far more modest. He started going on about how my skin tone made it clear where I was from, and I shouldn't show such disrespect to my culture. I started yelling and told him the being brown wasn't a personality trait and I could do WTV the hell I wanted, and I did respect my own culture, of which I knew far more than he did. Our friends ended up separating us, and they've all just cut him off, and they support me. However, I've been getting messages from him on every imaginable platform about how I should understand that he was interested in my culture and was trying to look out for me. AITA, edit. Thank you all so much for the supportive comments. It means the world. I don't want to generalize or hurt any commentators, as I've only seen two comments like this. I did get a couple messages kinda along the same creepy lines though, but saying that Indian women are amazing in bed or are sexy ASF is honestly really creepy. Please don't. It's not supportive or kind at all. Jake believed that Indian ladies were very modest and reserved. He claims that when you wear a bikini, you have somehow insulted his preconceived notions. He even suggests that you are insulting your culture in this statement. Even charitable cultural assumptions end up being bigoted. Comment by team member Jordan. Now for the top comments. NTA. He's fetishizing Indian culture and women. Deserves a big ol' fuck off. My rulies, if he starts sounding like a person making skin suits, run. Like, this is probably partially true, but damn, it made me laugh. Honestly, this reminds me of people who fetishize Japanese women as small and obedient and etc. He's trying to make you play into his fetishized version of Indian women. If he was so interested in your culture, he cold asked you about it, or looked into modesty and differences in people himself. But he didn't. He tried to enforce his non-Indian views on you because you aren't being the modest fetishized woman he wants. NTA. On no planet is it okay for someone else to try and control what you do or wear with your body. I'm glad your friends see that. 2. Block him. NTA. Gatta keeping an entire culture. That's a new one for me. Not even his at that. Am I the antagonist for refusing to sing at my ex-sister's wedding for free? I, 20F, have had a rough relationship with my mother's ex-husband's family. My ex-stepsister, let's call her Kat, 22F, accepted an engagement and planned her wedding after dating the guy for 4 months. I'm a performer and often sing at weddings and different events. A little backstory. After my mom's divorce, that entire family including Kat blamed the divorce on me. I was 16 when they divorced because I have depression. That my ex-stepfather worsened due to how he treated me. My mom noticed this and he turned on her. After calling him out, Kat would say horrible things to me, specifically saying that I would never make it as a performer because I'm crazy. When Kat planned her wedding, she first asked me to help her plan her wedding and book venues, etc. I had to refuse because I'm a college student who works full-time and performs. A few weeks go by and she asks me to perform at her wedding and sends a huge list of songs for me to prepare for in less than a month. She also said that I owed her one for all of the pain I caused her during the divorce because of my mental illness. She said that I have to do this for free because it's only fair to her and her family. I explained that my time and resources are too precious to do a wedding for free. There is a lot of preparation that goes into it as well. Her entire family has been blowing up my phone and basically harassing me saying that I'm an asshole for not doing this for her, since I'm not even good enough to be a professional performer, and since I caused so much heartache in their family. Even my mom is saying that I'm being an asshole since we grew up together. Am I the asshole for refusing to perform at my ex-sister's wedding? Kat is quite courageous. She is responsible for the suffering she caused you. You owe her and her family nothing at all. Why would they want you to perform at a wedding if you're such a lousy performer? You're being tricked into performing for free by the flying monkeys. Comment by team member Parker. Now for the top comments. NTA. Don't perform. Don't go to the wedding. Don't even talk to any of those people anymore. I mean, if you're not good enough to perform, then why would they want you performing for the wedding? They're trying to guilt you into a free singer. Don't fall for it. Life is so much better when you block all the assholes and users. NTA. Why are you still in contact with them at all? Block them and keep it moving. NTA. If they don't think you're good enough to perform professionally, why are they asking you to sing at such an important event? Doesn't make sense.